Good morning, students. So, today we will be discussing chapter 6 Political Parties, grade 10th, and page 75. So, here the topic which we have to discuss is how many parties should we have. So, in this, we will see whether the countries they can adopt the one party system or two party system or the multi party system. So, in democracy, students, any group of citizen is free to form the political party. Democracy, political equality is there. We can contest election. We have universal adult franchise. We are living in a democratic nation, so equally we are political independent also. We can form our political parties also. So in this formal sense, there are large number of political parties in each country, and more than 750 parties are registered with the Election Commission of India. But usually, students, only a handful of parties are effective in the race to win the election and form the government. The big, major, big political parties, they do so. So the question here is then how many major effective parties are good for a democracy? So in some countries, students, we have seen one party is allowed to control and run the government. So that is one party system. So in one party system, like we have seen the case of China. So now the same topic, moving to page 77, students, the same topic, we have to continue. How many parties should we have? So we have seen that in China we have one party, that is the Communist Party, is allowed to rule, and legally speaking people are free to form political party. It does not happen because the electoral system does not permit the free competition for power. So because chances are there, if free competition will be there, then chances are there that the corruption will increase. So we cannot consider one party system as a good option. If we see the democracy, if we see the democratic option, then it is not a good option. Any democratic system must allow at least two parties to compete in election and provide a fair chance for competing parties to come to power. So at least two parties should be there, and in some countries, students, power usually change between the two main parties. Several other parties may exist, contest the election, and win a few seats in the national legislature, but only two main parties have a serious chance of winning the majority of seats to form the government. And such party system is called two-party system. Like in USA, we have Republican Party and Democratic Party. So that is a two-party. At least the choice should be there with the voters. Now, if several parties compete for power and more than two parties have a reasonable chance of coming to power either on their own strength or in alliance with others, we call it a multi-party system. So, in India, we have multi-party system. In this system, government is formed by various parties coming together in a coalition. So, if we have multi-party system, students, coalition government can also be formed. When neither of the political parties having absolute majority in the parliament, then the coalition government can be formed. In coalition, so many parties, the different political parties, whether they are national or the state parties, they come together and they join their hands together and they share the power, and then they form the government. So when several parties in a multi-party system join hands for the purpose of contesting election and winning power, so it is called an alliance. So alliance is formed before the elections. So before the elections only they will announce their alliance, like NDA, UPA, National Democratic Alliance, United Progressive Alliance. So these are the alliances before election only. So pre-poll announcement is there of the alliance that we are going to contest the elections together, and if we will have the majority, then we will form the government also. So I have given you the example of these alliances. So the multi-party system, students, often appears very messy, very confusing also, and leads to political instability. Yes, means in coalition, when none of the parties having absolute majority, then the coalition government is formed, and in these cases, in the coalition government, there is a political instability. You have seen many a times that the if the coalition government is there, it is very difficult for the prime minister to work to provide the stability to the system. He has to give unnecessary favors to the all the parties. So more pressure is there on the prime minister in case of the coalition government, and if he will not listen, the supporting party, they will withdraw the support, and then the government will fall. There are the chances. So but at the same time, the multi-party system allows a variety of interests and opinions to enjoy political representation, because we are a diverse country. So there is a social and geographical diversity in our country. So it is not easily, such a diversity can't be easily absorbed by two or three parties. So that's why we have multi-party system. So but party system is not something any country can choose. It evolves over a long time, depending upon the nature of the society. Like if we see our freedom struggle, only one party was there. Who led our freedom struggle? Indian National Congress. So students, the each country develops a party system that is conditioned by its special circumstances. Like India. In India, if we talk, we have multi-party system. It has evolved because we are diverse, and one, two parties or three parties will not cater to our needs, because geographically also we are diverse, culturally also we are diverse. So there is a diversity. So no system is ideal for all the country and all the situation. So it vary from country to country. One party, where only one party system, where only one party is allowed to control and run the government, that is China, Communist Party. But we have seen it is not a democratic option. Then two party, so chances of winning is between the two main parties, USA and UK, and then multi-party system. And India is the example. So now students, on page 79, the topic which we have to discuss is national political parties. So students, the democracies that follow a federal system, center-state relations, all over the world tend to have two kinds of political parties. That's parties that present in only one of the federal units and parties that are present in several or all the units of federation. So this is the case of India also. So there are some countrywide parties which are called national parties, and these parties have their units in various states. But by and large, all these units follow the same policies. So for national parties, if these parties have units in various states, then also they will follow the same policies. Whichever the policy at the central level, so say all the states will follow the same policy, same programs and strategy, which is decided at the national level. So every party, students in country, has to register with the Election Commission of India. So while the commission treat all the parties equally, it offers some special facilities to large and established parties. So some special facilities are given to them. So these parties are given unique symbol. Only the official candidates of that party can use these election symbols. And parties that get this privilege and some other special facilities are recognized by Election Commission. So that is why these parties are called recognized political parties. And Election Commission has laid down the detailed criteria of the proportion of votes and seats that a party must get in order to be a recognized party. So in order to be a national party, certain criteria is there, which is laid down by the Election Commission. That party will be recognized as national party which secures 6% of vote in the Lok Sabha election, or 6% of vote in assembly election in 4 states, and wins at least 4 seats in Lok Sabha election. So again I am repeating the criteria. Very important it is, students. Please underline this on page 79 of your book. 6% of votes in Lok Sabha elections, or 6% of votes in assembly election in 4 states, and wins at least 4 seats in Lok Sabha election. So this is the criteria. If this criteria has been fulfilled, then only the party will be recognized as a national party. So according to this proportion, according to these criteria, we have 8 political parties, national political parties in our country. So we have 8 national parties in our country. That is All India Trinamool Congress, Bahujan Samaj Party, Bharatiya Janata Party, Communist Party of India, Communist Party of India Marxist, Indian National Congress, National People's Party, and of course Nationalist Congress Party. So these are 8 national political parties we have in our country. So similarly for the state party also, the criteria is there. The separate criteria is there. So the party that secures at least 6% of total votes in elections through the legislative assembly of a state and wins at least 2 seats is recognized as a state party. So again I am repeating, a party that secures at least 6% of total votes in election to the legislative assembly of a state and wins at least 2 seats is recognized as state party. Please underline these things, it can be asked in 1 mark. So on page 80 now, students, we have to discuss certain national parties, and first is All India Trinamool Congress. So it was launched on 1st January 1998 by Mamata Banerjee, and it is recognized as National Party in 2016. So please underline this, this is very important. And this party is committed to secularism and federalism, and this party is in power since 2011 in West Bengal, and this party is having good base in Andhra Pradesh, Manipur, Tirupura. So this party is having good base in Andhra Pradesh, Manipur and Tirupura, and in general elections in 2014, this party secured 3.84 votes percent votes and 3.84% votes and 34 seats. And this is the fourth largest party in 2014 Lok Sabha election. So this was Trinamool Congress. Then next after the Trinamool Congress, students, the party which we have to discuss is after this BSP, okay, Bahujan Samaj Party. Now Bahujan Samaj Party was formed in 1984 under the leadership of Kanshi Ram. So please underline this. So this party represents and secures the power for Bahujan Samaj, which includes the Dalit, Adivasis, OBCs and religious minorities. And this party draws the inspiration from the ideas and teachings of Mahatma Phule, Parihar, Ramswamy, Naikar, Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Means these are the reformers or leaders who fought for the Dalits, and who relentlessly fought for the Dalits, the Adivasis and OBC. So this stands for the cause of securing the interest and welfare of the Dalits and the oppressed people. So it has its main base in Uttar Pradesh and substantial presence in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, Delhi and Punjab, and they have formed government in Uttar Pradesh several times by taking the support of different parties at different times. Now after BSP, the next party which we have to see is BJP. So it was founded in 1980 by reviving, means by bringing back, the erstwhile Bharatiya Janasangh. Erstwhile means the former Bharatiya Janasangh. So 1980, please underline. And this party wants to build a strong and modern India, and by drawing the inspiration from India's ancient culture and values. Hindutva is an important element of its creation of Indian nationhood and politics. So this is one of the important values this party is following. Hindutva wants full territorial and political integration of Jammu and Kashmir. So they want this, and they have done also by abolishing the Article 370, and uniform civil code they want to implement, means they want to make one country, one nation, one laws. So uniform civil code throughout the country, the uniformity should be there in the laws, irrespective of the religion, or ban on the religious conversion. So it supports a base increase substantially in 1990s, and earlier they were limited to north and west and to urban areas, and party expanded its support in the south, east, northeast and rural areas also. So they came in power in 1998 as the leader of National Democratic Alliance, including several state and regional parties, and then they lost election in 2004, and its principal opposition party in the and is the principal opposition party in the Lok Sabha. But now again they are in power, NDA, and BJP is the main party of the NDA. So after BJP, now we have to discuss CPI, Communist Party of India. So Communist Party of India formed in 1925. They believe in Marxism and Leninism, means secular approach they want, means all the means of production should be owned by the society. It should reduce the gap between rich and poor. So they are opposed to the forces of successionism, means they oppose this successionism, means that disintegration, to be a part of any military alliance. They don't want this, the feeling that divides the country, and the act of becoming independent from the country. So they don't want this. And communalism also, They don't believe in this ideology of the communalism, where this ideology is there of the communalism, where we think that the communal mind think that our religion is superior to all other religions. So that is the ideology of communalism, means a strong attachment to one's own community, and we think that the our religion is much superior to the other. So successionism, I have told you, the disintegration to break away from the country to demand separate nation. So after this, now they formed CPI. We are discussing. They formed in 1925 and they got split in 1964 between CPI and CPIM. So they believes in Marxism and Leninism, means on the broader, if we see on the broader perspective, they believe in secularism, and they're opposed to the forces of secessionism and communalism, and they have a significant presence in the states of Kerala, West Bengal, Punjab and Andhra Pradesh, and still they are strong in the left front, so this party. So next is CPIM. So founded in 1964 after a split from CPI. They believe again the same ideology, Marxism, Leninism. They support socialism, secularism, democracy, and imposes imperialism and communalism. So they accept democratic election as a useful and helpful means for securing objective of the socio-economic justice in India, and they enjoy a very strong support in West Bengal, Kerala, and Tripura, especially among the poor people. Now, page 81, the same party, CPIM, we have to discuss, students. So, I told you that CPI founded in 1964 and same ideology they have, means as compared to if we see the CPI and CPIM, the same ideology they have. And the CPIM, they have a very good base in West Bengal, Kerala, Tripura, among the poor people, factory workers, farmers, intelligent people, educated people, agricultural laborers. So they are critical of the new economic policies that allow the free flow of foreign capital and goods into the country, that is the globalization. So they has been in power in West Bengal, okay, from 1977 to 2011 they were in the power. So in 2004 elections they have won about 6% of votes, 43 seats in the Lok Sabha. Okay, so this was CPIM. Now after CPIM, students, the next party which we have to discuss is Indian National Congress. Okay, so the Indian National Congress, now one of the oldest party, 1885 it was formed by A.O. Hume, you know, played a dominant role in Indian politics for decades after independence, and their ideologies aspires to build a modern and secular democratic republic in India. They are the centrist party, supports new economic reforms with the human face, and it was the ruling party at the center after independence till 1977. Then again they came to power in 1980 and they continued till 1989. And in UPA, the alliance, United Progressive Alliance, they were also in power from 2004 to 2014, and now they are the opposition party. So after this, now the next party which we have to discuss is Nationalist Congress Party. So this is the next party. So it was formed in 1999. So due to split in Congress, so it is headed by Sharad Pawar, and the ideology of this party is to promote democracy, Gandhian secularism, equality, social justice, and federalism. And they wants that high offices in government be confined to natural born citizens of the country, means it should not be given to the people who are coming from other countries. So this is the major concern why this party got split, and this is a major party in Maharashtra. They have a good base in Meghalaya, Manipur and Assam also, and since 2004 they were the member of United Progressive Alliance also when they were in power. Okay, so this was National Congress Party. Now the next thing which we have to discuss on page 81 is state parties, students. So national parties we have covered, and now state parties. So other than these parties, national parties, most of the major parties of country are classified by election commission as the state parties. So these are also commonly known as regional parties. So yet these parties need not to be regional in their ideology. Some of these parties are all India parties that happen to be succeeded only in some states. Parties like Samajwadi Party, then Samata Party, Rashtriya Janata Dal, they have national level political organization with units in several states. And some of these parties like Biju Janata Dal, Sikkim Democratic Front, Mizo National Front are conscious about their state identity. And over the last 3 decades, students, the number and strength of these parties have been expanding, and this has made Parliament of India politically more and more diverse. So no one national party is able to secure its own majority in Lok Sabha. So as a result, national parties are compelled to form the alliance with the state parties. So this earlier also I have told you that if none of the parties having absolute majority in the parliament, then they join their hands with the state parties to form the government and the coalition. So this we have seen the trend has changed since 1996. So every one of the state parties has got an opportunity to be part of one or the other national level coalition government. So this has contributed significantly to the strengthening of federalism and democracy in our country. Federalism means our democracy works on the principle of power sharing. So under coalition government, the power is shared with different political parties. So in that sense, when the coalitions are being formed, so the state parties also get some share of their power when the coalition governments are formed at the center or at the state level also. So now students, now page 83 of the same chapter, political parties. On this page now we have to see the challenges to the political parties. So students, we have seen how crucial political parties are for the working of democracy. So the parties are the most visible face of the democracy. You have seen this, that the illiterate person or in the remotest part of the country, the people might not be aware about the constitution, what is parliamentary form of government, what is prime ministerial form of government, but they are aware of the political parties. So political parties are the most visible face of democracy, and it is natural also that people blame parties for whatever wrong is done or what is wrong is been happening within the democracy. And all over the world, people express strong dissatisfaction with the failure of political parties to perform their function fully. So this is in case of our country too. We also blame the political parties if something wrong is happening in the democracy. So popular dissatisfaction and criticism has focused on four problems in working of these political parties, and political parties need to face and overcome these challenges in order to remain effective instruments of democracy. So the first challenge which we are going to talk now is the lack of internal democracy within the parties. So there is a lack of internal democracy within the party. So, all over the world, there is a tendency in political parties towards the concentration of power in one or few leaders at the top. So, this happens that in the political party, the power is concentrated in the hands of the few leaders at the top. And parties do not keep membership registers also. They do not hold any organization meetings. They do not conduct any internal elections regularly. And ordinary members of the party do not get sufficient information on what is happening inside the party. They do not have connections which are needed to influence the decision of the party. So as a result, the top leaders, they assume the greater power to make decisions in the name of the party. And since one or the few leaders, they exercise a supreme power in the party, those who disagree with this leadership, they find it difficult to continue in the party. So we have seen, so this is the first challenge, and this we have seen it happens that there is a concentration of power in the hands of the few top leaders, and decisions are taken by them only. No organization meetings are being conducted, no internal elections are being held, and no power to the ordinary members. The same topic now on page 84, the same topic, challenges to the political party, and the first point which we are discussing, continuing that only, the lack of internal democracy. So, the more than loyalty to the party principles and policies, personal loyalty to the leader also becomes more important. Means you can compromise with your ethics, you can with your honesty, but you have to be loyal towards the leader of the political party in which you are working, or you are the member of whichever party. So this is also very difficult for the people sometimes to compromise with their ethics, with their honesty, and they have to serve their political masters. Second challenge which the political parties face is of dynastic succession. So, since most political parties do not practice open and transparent procedures for their functioning, so there are very few ways for the ordinary worker to rise to the top in a party. So, it is very difficult for the ordinary worker to rise to the top positions in the party. And those who happen to be the leaders are in a position of unfair advantage to favor people close to them or in their family members. And in many parties, the top positions are always controlled by a member of the one family.
Layup 9.
So this you have seen that many a times the top positions of the political parties are controlled by families only, whether the person is capable or no for the top positions. And in many parties, the top positions are always controlled by a member of one family only. So this is unfair to other members of that party. This is also bad for democracy, since people who do not have adequate experience or popular support, they also came to occupy the top positions or the position of power. So, this type of behavior is present in some measures all over the world, including in some of the older democracies. So, second challenge which we have talked about is dynastic succession, and in this we have talked about nepotism, favoritism, and this kind of treatment is given to the few people by the people, by the top leaders who are controlling the party. Then is the third challenge which we have to discuss is the growing role of money and muscle power in the political parties. So you have seen students that elections in India is all about money and muscle power. Especially during elections we have seen this thing. And since parties are focused only on winning election, they tend to use shortcuts to win election. So all there is a electoral competition is there, open competition is there, multi-party system we have. So all the political parties and candidates, they are contesting election with the hope to win the election. So to win the election and to come to power, they use all the dirty tricks also. They tend to nominate those candidates, the political parties, they tend to nominate those candidates only who have or can raise lot of money. So rich people and companies who give funds to the party, they tend to influence the policies also later on and decisions of the party. And in some cases, parties support criminals also, because there is a sure shot that they will win only. Okay, if any party ticket is given to the criminal, then there is obvious they will win from that constituency. So democrats all over the world are worried about the increasing role of rich people and big companies in the democratic politics. So this is a main issue of concern. Then his fourth challenge is that the parties that do not seem to offer any meaningful choice to the voters. In order to offer meaningful choice, parties must be significantly different. But there is no difference. The parties, they are same only. Their policies are same. Okay, their policies, their ideologies, almost they are same only. There is not a much difference, and voters are not having any meaningful choice in front of them. The same set of leaders. Okay, the same set of leaders. So the brands are different, but we have the same sets of leader. So in our country, the difference among all the major parties on economic policies, it has been reduced, and those who really want different policies, they have no option available to them. So sometimes people cannot even elect very different leaders either, because the same set of leaders are there. They keep on shifting from one party to the another. So we have talked about the four challenges. First, the lack of internal democracy within the party. Then, second, challenge of dynastic succession. Then, third, the problem of money and muscle power, their growing role in elections. And then, fourth one, that there is a lack of meaningful choice to the voters. So, students, earlier we have seen the challenges, and now on page number 85, we have to see how parties can be reformed. So, in order to overcome the challenges which we have discussed earlier, some reforms has to be taken, some steps has to be taken, some efforts has to be made to reform the political parties. So, students, we need certain reforms in political parties to overcome the challenges we have seen, but willingness is lacking somewhere among the political leaders. Like, political leaders also know that by using money and muscle power they can win the election easily. But suppose if reform has to be brought which ban the excessive use of money and muscle power in election, then it will affect the leaders also who came to the power using this unfair means, because government will be formed by those leaders only who come to power by using these means in the elections. So willingness is lacking here, but certain efforts we have been made already. Like the first one, the constitution was amended to prevent elected MLA and MP from changing the party. So this was done because many elected representatives were indulging in defection. So the first step which we have taken is we have made the Anti Defection Act. So defection means changing the party loyalty from the party on which person got elected to a different party. So now uh, many elected representatives, they indulge in defection, means they change their party loyalties after the election in order to become ministers or cash rewards. So but now due to coming of this act, so now it will not be possible. And uh, the law says that if any MLA or MP changes the party, he or she will lose the seat in the legislature. So now students, page 86, and we were discussing earlier the how the parties can be reformed. So first we were talking about the Anti-Defection Act. So now according to this act, students, the MPs or MLAs, uh, they can't change the parties. If they will do, they will lose this seat in the legislature. And this new law has helped bring defection down also. At the same time, this has made any dissent, any disagreement even more difficult. And MPs and MLAs, they have to accept whatever the party leaders decide. So this is the first step. Second, the Supreme Court passed an order to reduce the influence of money and criminals. Now it is mandatory for every candidate who contests election to file an affidavit. Okay, what is an affidavit? It is a signed document which is submitted to the officer, where a person makes a statement regarding his or her personal information. So the affidavit have to be submitted, which gives the detail of the property, the assets the candidate is having, the liabilities, and after liabilities, then the criminal cases pending, educational qualification. So all this information they have to submit. So the new system has made lot of information available to the public. So the public now knows who are the candidate, what are their assets, what are their liabilities, what are their educational qualification. But still there is no system to check if the information given by candidate is true. So if the scrutiny can be done by election commission of all the documents, then only they will come to know that whether the documents submitted are fake or they are true. So as yet we do not know if it has led to decline in influence of rich and the criminals. Then the third reform, the third effort which has been made in this direction to reform the political party is the election commission. Election commission passed an order making it necessary for the political parties to hold their organizational elections and file their income tax returns also, because lot of funds these party they get. So the parties have started doing so, but sometimes it is merely a formality, and it is not clear if this step has led to greater internal democracy in political parties. So these were the three efforts which were already made: anti-defection law, then Supreme Court has made it mandatory to file the affidavit giving all the details, assets, liabilities, educational qualification, criminal cases pending, and then the election commission, they have also made it mandatory to file the income tax return by the political parties. This has to be done and to conduct their organizational election. Now there are certain suggestions which can be which are already made in order to reform the political parties. So first is, a law should be made to regulate the internal affair of the political parties. It should be made compulsory for the political parties to maintain a register of its member, to follow its own constitution, to have an independent authority, to act as a judge in case of a party dispute, and to hold open elections to the higher post. So this should be done. This should be made compulsory for the political parties. The next suggestion can be, it should be made mandatory for the political parties to give minimum number of tickets to women candidates also. There should be reservation of quota for the women in decision making bodies of the party. So this is also good if more and more involvement of women will be there in the political parties. So there should be then the next suggestion, there should be the state funding, the government funding of election. The government should give parties money to support their election expenses. And this support could be given in kind of petrol, paper, telephone, or it should be given in cash on the basis of votes secured by the party in the last elections. So these suggestions have not yet been accepted by the political parties, but these are suggestions. If and when these are accepted, this could lead to some improvements in our political structure. But we must be very careful about the legal solutions to the political problems, because over-regulation of political parties can be dangerous. It can be counterproductive. So this would force all the political parties to find the ways to cheat the laws. Besides, the political parties will not agree to pass a law that they do not like. But there are two other ways also in which political parties can be reformed. First, people can put the pressure on the political parties. This can be done through petitions, that is a formal written request, publicity, agitation. So this is the one way. Now the last page of our chapter 87 page number. So we were talking about the reforms that can be taken to reform the political party, the suggestions we were discussing. So one more suggestion we have seen, that people can put the pressure on the political parties to adopt reforms, to go for the reforms. Ordinary citizens, pressure groups, movements, media, they can play an important role in this. And if political parties, they will feel that they would lose the public support if they will not take the reforms, then they will become more serious about the reforms. Second, the political parties can improve if those who want, they join the political parties. So the quality of democracy depends on the degree of public participation. More and more conscious and active citizens should get involved with these political parties. So it is very difficult to reform politics if ordinary citizens do not take part in it and simply just criticize and stand outside and criticize. So if you want to see the change, so you have to bring the change. The problem of bad politics can be solved by more and more better politics. So these are certain reforms or suggestions which can be adopted by the political parties in order to reform them.